Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be watching a video called 8 Underrated Things About Life in Germany. I don't know what this, I'm guessing obviously it's a compilation, but I don't know if this is going to be from the perspective of an actual German living in, I'm guessing, Germany, or if it's going to be like from the perspective of a foreigner living in Germany. Because both things, I think I don't know, like it gives me vibes of just like someone that moved to Germany and, you know, has lived there for a while. And it's like, you know what? People don't really talk enough about like how great Germany is or how great life is in Germany in this when it comes to like this elements or this aspects. I don't believe it's going to be like an actual German person talking about this, because maybe you don't really get a point of comparison unless it's a person that has lived abroad. Germany, it has lived in other countries. So it's a German guy living in Germany, but I've lived somewhere else. So because I've lived somewhere else, I know, like I can tell you, no, this is really underrated, like underappreciated things that you don't really get to actually be grateful for unless that you're suddenly like not there or it's taken away from you. So I can't wait to check this out and comment, like, subscribe, and start.
Okay, everyone knows about the things Germany is famous for being good at. Germany has great beer. Germany has great cars. Germany is really good at soccer. Or used to be. But in this video, I am going to talk about things about life in Germany that I think are underappreciated or underrated.
Okay, I'm guessing, he's American and lives there,
let's get into it. The absolute vastness and rich history that is just commonplace in day-to-day life here in Germany. Right now I'm sitting on the steps of a church that's from the 12th century. And I feel like people that are from Germany really sort of take this for granted. And even I started to take it for granted after living here for a few years. I remember when I first came here, I was just awestruck by how old some of these buildings were and how much history there was on the things that I was walking around on. But you do get used to it. And it's only once I started to read some Ken Follett books like The Pillars of the Earth, which is about the making of a cathedral, that I really started to reappreciate just how crazy it is that there's this insane history all around us.
And this behind me here, the Kloster Kronberg,
which is a former monastery, originated in 1078. It's over 1,000 years ago. So
I have to like think about that year.
For granted for and like, pretty underrated here in Germany.
No, German.
This culture of when people buy a home, they buy a home for life. In the United States, I feel like there's this culture and attitude of people buying starter homes, which is a home that you're buying that you know you're not going to live in forever. Upgrade, that maybe you're actually going to only live in it for a couple of years. Whereas I feel like the idea of a starter home doesn't really, generally speaking,
but I think that's changed
in Germany.
A little bit.
When people are building or buying a house, they have the attitude and mindset that this is going to be my home for life. And I feel like the American mentality when it comes to home ownership is very stressful, and it kind of is a nice metaphor for American culture as a whole. It's always about, okay, leveling up, okay, what's next, leveling up, which I think is a very American
moving 8 times in your life, that seems a lot.
So I feel like this mentality of this house being a home for life gives a person a sense of peace and security, whereas the American mentality when it comes to homes often is sort of a stressful one and one of anxiety and always leveling up and not settling and finding peace.
Wow,
so
you know what? That's
I think this idea and mentality that Germans have when it comes to homes is very underrated.
Do you want to go to France this weekend?
Behind China, Russia, and Brazil, Germany has the most neighboring countries bordering it in the world. And this is not something to be overlooked. United States, we border Mexico and Canada. We do not have such close and easy access to other cultures.
The fact
that people grew up in Germany, in the heart of Europe, with access to 9 different countries on its border is really an incredible thing. Being able to drive 2 hours and be in France, drive 1 hour and be in Switzerland, or go east and drive and be in the Czech Republic.
What did I thought it was longer?
Denmark. It's a really valuable thing. I was just talking to a former teammate of mine on the Unicorns, and he talked about how, the first time he left Germany to go to a different country was probably before he could walk, and he'd been going to different countries in Europe that spoke different languages all growing up. The first time I went to a country that spoke a different language than mine was when I came to Germany in 2016. This is totally underappreciated by people that live in Germany and
yeah,
grew
but
up
I think it's more European thing
underrated.
versus
Now the next point. Oh, sorry. One sec. My brother's FaceTiming me.
What's up, Nels?
What?
What's up, Ant? How's it in California?
It's good, but I really miss German
Sunny?
Netflix. It's such good stuff on there.
Oh, you should be using CyberGhost. You know you can access 9,000 servers in 90 different countries. You'll be able to get different content based on the country that you choose. That's how I watch Yellowstone here in Germany on Paramount Plus. Just switch my IP to USA.
Oh, Yellowstone is phenomenal. We need to go to Montana.
Yeah, and if we use CyberGhost, we can change your IP address and possibly get cheaper flights and hotel options for that trip.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Wait, could I switch my IP address to Austria and watch Formula One for free?
Yeah, you just switch to Austria and you watch it on that ORF channel. A lot of people in Germany are also using it to
You can
read
watch
news
Formula
articles that
One
are
for
blocked
free?
on American sites. Oh, you're paying for YouTube Premium, right?
Oh yeah, no ads on YouTube videos. Plus I get unlimited access to YouTube Music, so I don't even need Spotify.
Yeah, if you use CyberGhost, you can get YouTube Premium for way cheaper. You switch to an Indian IP address and you can get it for €1.50 a month.
That's amazing. But don't they just have access to all your data?
No, not at all. They have this thing called the no logs policy, so CyberGhost doesn't even know what you're doing online. Totally encrypted and private. Hey, it's a world-leading VPN. It's literally the #1 most recommended VPN on Trustpilot. 38 million people use it. You could be 38 million and one.
I don't know, how much is it?
If you use the link in my description, you'll get like 83% off. 4 months free. You'll pay just over €2 a month.
Well, I don't use euros anymore. I use dollars.
Whatever, you can just use my account. One account can be used on up to 7 different devices. And it works on every major platform. Plus, there's a 45-day money-back guarantee. So, it's risk-free. You're welcome.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, great choice. Guys, I really recommend CyberGhost VPN. Not only is it a great product for you, but it also helps support me and my YouTube channel if you use the link in the description. So, check it out below. All right, back to the video.
Germans
The
are not
diversity
Germans?
of
What?
both the humans and the geography in Germany. This is a very underrated aspect of the country. When I first came
What
to
do you
Germany,
mean?
I just thought, oh yeah, German people, they're all the same. They're the same in the north, they're the same in the south. Germans are
No.
Germans are Germans.
No.
Now after living here, I am shocked that this is one country. Look at the map of the Holy Roman Empire. That is the diversity of different people and culture in Germany. It is still very alive and present today. I would honestly
Yes.
say that people in the southern Bavaria are much
very
more
different.
culturally close to Austrians than they are culturally close to people up way far in the north of Germany. And I'd say these people, these northern Germans that are way up near the border of Denmark, they're closer to Danes than they are to Bavarians in terms
Yeah,
of
it's
culture.
true.
And so I feel like just this line that's drawn around Germany as the border for Germans is
So- for
almost
so many people.
arbitrary. And there's just a wild range of diversity when it comes to people and cultures in Germany.
That's awesome.
Germans are very different across the country. And in going with that, there's also a diversity of landscape and geography that I think doesn't get talked about when people speak of Germany. Everyone just thinks, oh yeah, Germany
Is it
looks
just
the same
woods?
all over. No, you go to southern Germany, you've got the mountains, the
Incredible
Alps, you go to the
mountains.
southwest, you've got the Black Forest, you go up to the north, you've got the ocean, you've got
Yeah, the
different
beaches.
you've got like the islands, Silt, and then you go over into the
Silt,
east
yeah.
and you've got what they called Saxon Switzerland, which is basically this different type of landscape geography,
okay, that's-
rocky
that's
climbing
stunning. I've never
areas,
seen that in
the
my
west
life.
again to the Rhine River Valley. I mean, there's just different
That's
types of
gorgeous.
landscapes and geography all over Germany, and it's got a wide array of landscapes that I think is very underrated.
It's beautiful. I'm guessing that's football?
How
Soccer?
walkable Germany
Football?
is, and not just small
is it?
towns here like Schwäbisch Hall, but also even some of the bigger cities, like even Stuttgart
you mean-
is so
you mean
much
at-
more
you mean at
walkable
city?
than cities in the United States. And this is just a natural thing for people that grew up in Germany. Of course, yeah, the city is made for people, human beings, to walk around, not
walk,
for cars.
yeah.
But I feel like it's a very underrated thing.
Again, that's very
because it's just so
European versus
normal.
American.
So how walkable cities, towns, and villages are
Yeah,
is very underrated.
it's incredible.
So in Germany,
For what?
when there is standstill traffic on the Autobahn, all of the cars move off to the sides and create
as
an
everyone should do
alleyway
that.
in the middle of the road. This is known as a Rettungsgasse, which literally translates to
What's-
rescue alley. And it's
Oh,
so that
rescue
emergency
alley.
vehicles can still get through easily and
Because, yeah,
quickly
you make
when
an
there's
alley.
standstill parking lot
I love
style
it.
traffic. Now, of course, in these situations when there's such bad traffic, nobody's in a good mood. Nobody's happy about that.
Of course,
but everybody knows and buys into this idea like, hey, I'm annoyed, it's horrible traffic, but I'm going to move off to the side and we're going to create this lane in the middle for emergency vehicles to take care of people
it's an
if
alley.
that needs to happen. We're not taught to do this in the United States, and I feel like it's underrated that people do this all the time without fail in Germany.
Yeah, and they don't really need to, like, they just know to do that. Kids
Yesterday I was on a walk and I saw a group of 4 really young children. They were maybe 3, 4 years old. And they were out riding little bikes and walking with each other. And I was waiting for a parent to come around the corner because obviously kids this young are not out riding bikes and walking on their own. And I waited and then I realized there was no parent or adult with them. These were just 4 young little kids out enjoying the town, and it is totally normal and totally safe.
Crazy
this is something that you just really would not see in the United States.
No, of
and
course
to my
not.
American brain, it is still very shocking to just see young children roaming about on their own. I feel like this is an underrated aspect of life in Germany, that this is just able to be a totally normal and safe thing.
Don't they get scared? Beer before
In Germany,
steer.
you cannot drive a car until you're 18. But you can drink beer at 16. In the United States, you can drive a car at 16.
16, but
you can't drink beer until you're 21. It's very underrated that Germans do it this way. My dad worked in insurance for a long time, and so he knew the statistics about young drivers getting in accidents. All of us young kids getting our driver's license at 16, he knew there was a very high percentage chance that we would get in an accident in the first 12 months.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Driver's license at this age.
That's awful.
And lo and behold, all 6 Alfieri kids got in some sort of accident at different levels within the first year of having the driver's license.
Oh my God,
now, I don't know
so
the
it didn't
German
beat the
statistics
odds.
off the top of my head, but I'm assuming that a smaller percentage of drivers in Germany get in an accident in the first year of having your license, just simply because your brain is slightly more developed at 18 than it is at 16.
Sure.
Driving a car is much more dangerous and such a greater responsibility than having
drinking.
a beer. And I feel like in the United States, we have it a little bit mixed up. We think driving a car is safer than drinking a beer. So I'm really a fan of how Germany handles these two topics at these different ages. And I think it's very underrated aspect of life.
It's interesting. It's an interesting point. Good pavement.
German infrastructure. Germany is commonly ranked as the #1 country in the world when it comes to infrastructure. I'll just tell you, driving on the roads in Germany is a very pleasurable experience. Driving on the Autobahn is great. Hardly ever any potholes. The roads are in pristine conditions. And I actually really noticed this even more when I was driving out to Cody and Speedy's house the other day. They live outside of Schwäbisch Hall, and you have to drive on a bunch of back roads to get there.
And
not prime roads that are, taken care of all the time and have construction all the time.
This is beautiful. I'm sorry, but this is stunning.
Roads are just
this road,
pristine.
it's beautiful.
I will say German construction seems to take quite a long time. There are a few construction projects here around Schwäbisch Hall that they've been working on my entire time here and seem to have made little to no progress. However, when they finish projects in Germany, they do it well and they do it to last. I think if you want to really appreciate German roads and German infrastructure, leave the country and go drive on some other ones. I feel like if you grew up in this system, this is just what you know and this is the standard.
Yeah.
So even though it is literally ranked #1 in infrastructure,
they don't really know
I feel
that,
like people do not really appreciate that. It's undervalued, and therefore
because it's routine for them.
My list of underrated things about life.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, guys, that is all for today. I want to give a shout out again to the sponsor of today's video, CyberGhost VPN. Awesome product that I use every day, multiple times a day. I can highly recommend it to any people who use the internet, which you clearly are by watching this video. And the link to the discount is in the description of this video. Not only does it help you out, but it helps me out. So check it out. All right, guys, that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was incredibly interesting. I think he makes some interesting points especially, I think, well, starting with the last, like the infrastructure, he has a huge point in that if you grew up there, you're not going to be thinking that it's weird. It's weird that all the roads are, they don't have potholes, they're in perfect condition. You're just going to be thinking that's the standard and all countries work like that. All roads are like that. When it's the opposite. It's normal, even in other countries, other European countries, and I'm putting that European countries, because usually they tend to be like really, the roads tend to be in like really, really good condition. Even if you grew up there, you're not gonna be thinking like, well, is it not normal? It's like, well, no, it isn't. It isn't normal that you have like, potholes are just a way of life, and I think everyone has experienced them. But of course, if you've been living there, if you've never like left Germany, probably you're thinking this is the standard, and all the world works like that, when it's like, no, it's quite the opposite actually. Like it isn't at all. You're actually the anomaly in that you have like this perfect roads, and like he said, even like the back roads, they're in perfect condition. I also really like the fact that the infrastructure, like he said, like it's gonna take them longer to build, but they're built to last. It's not something that is made to withstand the test of time and weather and other things that obviously are, buildings and structures are, they're you can build them in order for them to last, but it's not like they're not gonna last forever. Like, even though you like put your best effort, like it's of course not gonna last forever, because again, there are a lot of situations that are out of your control. But the fact that they really do make an effort in order for them to last as long as they can, that's, I think, is very commendable. And that, I think, ties in with the fact that he said, you have buildings and structures like the monastery that it was created in like the year like 10 something, 20,000 something. Like, it's like, wait, I'm like, it's so long ago, because I think you're used to even like the 1500s, the 1200s, even the 1200s, which is like mind-blowing to me because it was so long ago. But even like, no, go farther behind. It's like, wait, hold on, like, give me a timeline. Where was it built? I think it's incredible, and it honestly is mind-blowing to me that they have structures that were built like in those days. Obviously, I think they probably have made some reforms. Some things have to be had to be probably like rebuilt, but it's, again, the concept of something lasting over 1,000 years, I'm not gonna say unnatural, but it's almost unnatural in the sense that how come something has not happened? Like, I don't know, like weather, the fires, I don't know, people, earthquakes, I don't know, because there's so many things that happen that, again, you can't control the weather, you can't control nature, and that they do, like, they're standing. It's, again, it's mind-blowing to me in a way that I can't really, my mind cannot comprehend a structure that it's that old and that you can still visit them, you can still see them. And I think like that's probably like a very European thing once again. And again, if you're from Germany, you probably are thinking that's the normal, and that's just like the way it is all over the world, which is really not the case. Because a lot of other countries, like the oldest structures that a lot of other countries have, it's like, I don't know, like 1700 tops, and that's like so old to us. It's like 1700, oh my god, like it's so old. But compared to obviously something like that, it's like, no, that had been built for like 600 years when you guys were building that. It's like, whoa, I can't believe that. I think something really interesting to me, I think it's more of, again, like he said, something I really I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Obviously the beer, well, drinking and the driving, I've never thought of it that way. That for Americans, they probably think it's safer to like it's like alcohol is probably like the most, no, like you have to be 21. It's like you have to wait a long time to be able to drink. But no, you can drive a car at 16, which is, well, yeah, it's more like you put more, you think that alcohol is more dangerous than driving a car, which, I mean, obviously, like, both things are I mean, they're not comparable, I think, in a way, but I can see what he means about, when it comes to Americans. It's like they put more sort of like precautions on alcohol, when driving a car can be as equally as dangerous or even more dangerous. Like he said, I didn't know the statistics that a lot of 16-year-olds, well, I think 16, 17-year-olds really do get into car accidents in that first year that they're driving. It's like, well, you know what? I want to see the statistics of people in the other side, in Germany, people and teenagers that have been drinking beer since they were 16. Do they got into any sort of like fights with the law or something? Because I'm guessing no. So it's, well, you know, it makes a good point to lower like the drinking age in the United States, or up the age where you can actually like legally drive a car, which in a lot of I think in most countries it's 18, I think, or that you can get like a special permit when you're like 16. So I think 16 is like the lowest anyone can like legally drive a car. But he does make a really good point. It's like, well, of course, there's a pretty huge difference between 16 and 18, because even though it's 2 years, when you're a teenager, you're obviously like your brain's developing. So it's like it does like 2 years doesn't seem a lot when you're an adult, but when you're a teenager, it's a huge of a difference. So of course, 18-year-olds are probably going to get into less accidents than a 16-year-old. And lastly, I thought another thing that was incredibly interesting to me is the fact that he said, well, obviously the distances are quite like, you can get into like, I think he said Switzerland, it's like an hour drive. Well, I guess obviously it depends on where you are in the country and what city you're in. I think obviously if you're closer to the Polish border, obviously you're going to be in Poland in like an hour, or if you're in the other side, you're going to be in France in like, again, in an hour. It's obviously that's to me, again, mind-blowing that you can just like drive anywhere and you're in another country, and it's like, I don't know, like a Sunday drive. Let's go to France, and that's like a Sunday drive, and we'll be back by dinner. That's, to me, it's mind-blowing. And I think few countries, again, it's I think normal for Europe, and especially a country like Germany that has like so many surrounding countries, that it's not normal for, I think, a lot of countries in the rest of the world. That's, again, mind-blowing. But something interesting is that he said something so American, which I find very funny, is that he said, like, I probably didn't get his passport until he was probably an adult, which I think is something very American, because like, even though Europe, obviously, like, well, they don't get like, you don't need passports, because you know obviously the laws are different. But again, the whole thing about visiting another country, like you left the country that you were born in, and it's normal to do so when you're a baby, a child, like you grew up with it, like people speak different languages, you're just traveling, because again, it's normal. And in other countries, it's also normal that you get your passport as a baby and as a child. But I think it's a very American thing for him to be like, the first time that I actually like went out of the country, and the first time that I listened to like another language and stuff, was probably when he was an adult and he went to Germany. I get why, because the United States, it's a huge country, and you can get a lot of things like they have, because obviously it's a huge country, so they have like so many things that I get the sense of, most people are like, why do I need to travel abroad and somewhere else if I have everything here? I can just go to another state that's like 5 hours away, and I can like maybe go to the beach. But, in other countries, obviously they're smaller, so you need to go other places and other countries in order to experience like other climates. But it's really funny to me that, and it's something so American, that he was like, well, I didn't travel like abroad until I was an adult. And that's such a difference with your Germany, and I think probably I would venture to say that all Europe, all the continents like that, and a lot of other countries around the world are like that. It's like, no, it's normal that you get your passport and that you travel a lot as a child and even as a baby. But for Americans, that concept, I think it's rare, it's weird, and it's rare for them to be like that. But yeah, this was incredibly interesting, and I did find a lot of things that I'm like, I really do want to think about what he said. But that was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.